Welcome to Nonprofit Network, powered by Stokes Auction Group. We are a podcast focused on benefit auctions and fundraising events for the nonprofit community. We are a group of fundraising professionals that specialize in raising funds to improve communities of all sizes. And here it is, episode number 25. Hello, welcome.
25.
My name is Shelby Stokes.
25?
Man, I am Kelly Schenfeld, also known as Susie the Trucker. You can tell by the hat today.
Holly Schenfeld, once again welcoming back all you fundraising fanatics.
Hey, you guys, we have a special guest today.
Yes, we do.
In studio watching us. Everybody give it up for the Ivan.
Yay!
The Ivan. Master of all.
The Ivan. How do you get the title The Ivan?
Because, trust me, after you get to know him for a little bit of time, you will call him The Ivan.
Legend.
Legendary.
Legend.
Currently reading a book about the USB and alien crafts. So
Yeah.
he's 89.
I got a little bit of a lesson earlier.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
excited
fantastic.
to hear more.
We're
I'm
all so
excited.
lucky. We're all so lucky.
For sure. So we are coming to the end of August. We are the last week of August. September is not but 2 days away, and the fall is definitely upon us. The fall of 2022 is what we're preparing for. You're wearing your trucker hat.
I'm wearing my trucker hat, but there is some
behind
significance behind
Okay.
this trucker hat.
Tell us the story.
I'm going to tell you the story. As you can see, it's the Hacker Open hat. And so we've done a golf tournament for years, and it's to raise benefits for kind of our auction family that has, medical needs or has tragedies happen in their family or things like that. Well, we haven't been able to have one for a while. We'll have another one someday. But the reason I'm wearing a hat is also that I didn't have to do my hair. But the reason that I'm wearing the hat is because now is the time, if you had a golf tournament, now is when you want to rebook your course so that you could get things happening. We've been talking a lot about getting ready for the events in the fall, but now is also the time to take care of the ones that you just had that were summertime golf classics or whatever they were. And now you need to rebook those and get that behind you so that you can work on your galas. Because typically they have golf tournaments and galas. So.
Yeah, and I will say, it really feels like a lot of us are out of sync right now. Wait, we're thinking about next year already? Yes, you probably should be, especially for a golf course or a venue, wherever you're going to be holding your event, because it's going to come quick. And
It is
before
gonna
you know
come
it,
quick.
next year is going to be upon us.
And the main concern, obviously, is getting the venue.
Right,
That's
and
what
snagging up your quality auctioneer, which you can get at Stokes Auction Group. Don't forget to call us.
StokesAuctionGroup.com.
Stokes Auction Group's here for your needs.
Oh, I also got to tell you about the other web address that we just purchased the other day. But we're here today to
It's
talk.
not Fat Babies, is it?
It is not fatbabies.com, which
Love
I'm pretty sure is taken. Where did that come from?
I don't know. Okay, keep going. All
Right?
right. Let's
That's the
stay
first
professional,
I heard.
boys.
All right.
Just because we have an audience doesn't mean we need to show off, but it is kind of fun.
Yeah, we don't want to flex our fat
Going off the rails.
URL.
Oh, no, the rails!
So with the end of August comes the fall, and now we're going to go into our third episode of planning. So we're going through the third and final installment of the planning packet from
As
a
you
couple
can see,
years
once
ago.
again, they didn't give me a packet, so I'm just going to banter.
You're better off the cuff, I've noticed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Have you rebooked your golf course? That's the real question.
No, we haven't decided if we're doing it again yet or
Deal.
not.
We better rebook then, I guess. So we are now in the last segment, so 1 month out from the packet is what this says initially, but as we said, a lot of this is coming together quickly, so it can be on expedited timeline. First things first, procurement deadlines become due about a month prior to your event, so finalizing that lineup is pretty important.
Yeah, and we talked last week about getting all the details that you can before you put it into your catalog, in the sequencing and all of that. So it's getting close to crunch time now. It seems like we just talked about that last week, but now you'll see as the weeks go, they really are going to be rapid now. The weeks are going to fly.
Start to fly.
Yeah, so your event coming up in the fall is here tomorrow. So get on it.
It's right.
And it's going to make you feel a lot better, right? This is a month out. But if you've got all your procurement deadline locked in a month, it's going to make you feel good.
It
isn't
is.
I mean, isn't it going to take a lot of stress off you? It's like, because that's a big deal.
As well as the chatter can start within that community. Oh my God, did you hear what they have? They're selling a fishing trip, which by the way, let's hear about a fishing trip.
Oh, man.
Do you know anything about a fishing trip?
I just went on a fishing trip.
What?
It was amazing. It was in
You went on a
Sitka,
fishing
Alaska, 3 days on the water, and we brought back a lot of fish, like 80 pounds of fish. In fact, there's a
So,
few.
I'll take 10 pounds instead of 5. then.
Wait, what? Did I say 80 pounds? I brought back 8 pounds of fish. Charlie will get 1 pound. That's 1/8 because I'm so generous. No, and I think there's a few in the Shinfield family that are excited to talk about a fishing trip. So who knows?
Yeah, I think we're going to make that happen.
Well,
But we sell those a lot. Those
we do.
are very fun, and that's kind of
We
why
do.
I was just talking about that a little bit, is that,
Yeah.
those items that you procure that are fishing trips, things like that are really active but yet unique, you can really start the buzz in your community once you get those locked in.
It's all about the buzz. It's all about the
All
buzz.
about the buzz.
So think about this. You're a month out. You're locking in all your procurement items, and now you get to decide what goes into silent, what goes into live, and you start making the flow of your event.
Yeah.
We've talked about it earlier. What we want is we want energy throughout the night, the ebb and flow, the social being considered as well. We're looking at all these different items and assembling them.
Yep.
So about a month out, your catalog is going to go to print. And in doing so, when it goes to print, we'd love to take a look at your items if we're your partner.
Yes.
And put them in some sort of order that we feel is beneficial to the room.
He meant to say when we're your partner, not if we're your
when we're your partner. Yeah, and so we'll put them in an order and make it feel good. We're going to make the energy rise. Or we're
Rise!
going to make the energy fall. And it's going to be beautiful.
It's gonna be
And
like surfing.
talking about silent auction, typically you're going to decide how many sections that you need. Whether you're going to have 2 silent sections, or you're going to have 3, or you're going to have 4. Again, as with a lot of aspects of different events that we talk about, it's going to depend on the number of attendees, right? Because that's going to kind of determine how many items you should have. I mean, if you've got an event with 300 people, you've basically got 150 wallets in the room, because people are going to come as a couple. So you don't want to have 300 items, because then everybody has to buy 2 items, and that's probably unrealistic, right?
Yeah. How do you guys, as auctioneers, feel about super silence? What would you tell your community that's putting together their fall event, and they're in that month-long, space where they got to really tighten up their procurements? How do you feel about super silence, and explain what that is?
Well, a super silent item is an item that is just about good enough to be a live auction item. And this can also kind of help you deal with issues that you might be getting some heat from your donors. Oh, here is my item, but I want it to be live. Well, you might have to have that difficult conversation and say, well, we've got enough in our live, but how about this? We'll put your item into our super silent. Now, the super silent could be section number 3 or number 4, depending on how many you have, and it's going to get the most exposure. It's going to be open for the longest amount of time. So that might be an idea for you to pitch somebody that's kind of giving you some grief about wanting their items in the super silent. Basically, it is an item that is just about good enough or is good enough to be live, but you just don't have enough room to put it in there. So there are fewer number of items in that super silent, but they're a little bit higher value, very close to being live-worthy items.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're very exciting to listen to, because the Ivan's dozing off back there. At 89 years old, we wouldn't expect anything less. That means he's comfortable, and we appreciate that.
It's also a little warm in here.
It's a little warm in
It's
here.
a little warm in here. Super silents are the way to go, right? And the reason I like them is because you're basically taking a huge list of silent auction items, you're narrowing it down to a very few, and then you're putting a bunch of attention on those items. And I like that because you have more exclusive packages, people actually want to look at them, they don't feel overwhelmed, and then you dive in and take them. So I like the super silent personally. I know that they can get lost in the sea of items at times, but I think it's a way to highlight them.
I also think that it works that if you have a super silent item, and we've had it happen to us, I'm sure you boys have can't even talk. You boys have had it happen to you, and that is if this thing is just getting massive bidding, it's showing you that you can move that into the live, and you can stuff it somewhere in the live. Rely on your auctioneer for that a little bit, because they're gonna steer you the right way on that. But be open to that if something that you thought was going to bring $2,000 in the super silent is just like, okay, they're at $2,500. Well, the next guy's at $2,750. We got to get the live item going. We got to close the super silent. Pull it out, bring it into the live, don't you think?
I do, yeah.
Gosh.
It's a good way to market test. It's a great way to market test. So yeah, super silents are great.
Kind of use this as a basis for your determining number of silent sections. And again, I talked about the number of items, but timing. The first section should be the least number of items that are low value, because not everybody's going to show up on time. Your second silent is probably going to is when people are going to start showing up. So you probably want maybe 40% of your items to be in the second section. And then the remainder of 40% you can split up into a section 3 or 3 and a super silent. Those are going to be least quantity number of items, but higher value items, because they're going to need and get the most exposure as far as people showing up. Your doors open at 5, you have a closing at 6:45. Your third closing or your super silent, that's going to get, that's an hour and 15 minutes of exposure on just a kind of a general timeline.
You are so smart.
People aren't going to show up right at 5 o'clock, so don't put your best items in your first section, is my point.
You're so smart.
Burn all the aces early.
Burn them all early.
Burn all the aces early.
Okay, sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent. We
lot of a
apologize for that, but it felt good.
Yeah, it did. So you're also going to designate your volunteers for the auction night. Who's doing what and who's going where. Now, if you're arriving at this point, you haven't thought about this, now's the time to really give some thought to it. Who is doing what and how are they going to help facilitate the spotters, the runners, the clerks, the registration, and the checkout? Each one of those different jobs are important for one reason or another. They may not all apply, some of them will apply, but essentially having the workforce to make sure this thing goes off without a hitch is going to be essential. Just think about that. Definitely let us see your items before they go to print.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah,
Yep.
just don't forget. Catalog, not going to say that. Assemble auction items into one place in preparation for
Whoopsie-doodle.
transportation. So if you have tangibles that are going to the event, about 2 weeks prior, you're going to want to start placing those in a place where we can kind of gather them together and put eyes on them, and then physically understand what needs to be moved. Or, you might just have a desk show up at your house one day, and then you have to deal with it. Thanks, Kelly.
So you're coordinating, your neighbor Tim or your buddy Tom and his pickup truck, and he's going to have a trailer, and he's going to come help you. And these are kind of the logistics that we're talking about here, right? Getting the items from wherever they're warehoused to the venue.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And then you're going to get into the 1 week out. Now you're going to want to start looking at forms, preparing those, silent and live forms, if those are going to be applicable. Some of those are done all via the software now. So if you're already using software, that might not apply. 1 week out, you're assigning bid numbers and tables. You might want more than a week.
Dun, dun, dun!
This is your favorite part, right?
Oh, yes.
You got to keep Aunt Joanne
Aunt
away
Joanne
from
cannot, Uncle Billy.
Uncle Billy.
Oh,
Joanne
Lord.
and Billy, oh boy.
Ooh, let me just tell you, they said, oh, no. Oh, and that was not his wife last year. So we just have to be mindful of where people sit. And I know that's a tough job for all of you. But, it also makes for a very exciting evening.
Yeah, and then afterwards you can be like, can you believe we sat time
Can
and
you
drawn
believe?
together?
They sat together.
Well,
and then next year
also-
they'll be married, and you won't even know what to do.
Also, really important here during, talking about table placement is, think about the V kind of strategy from the stage. You're going to want your heavy hitters and your good bidders within the first 2 rows, right? So the people in the back who are people who aren't going to bid as much, obviously, they're going to be able to look around the room and see all these hands going in the air. You wouldn't want one of your horses that's going to be bidding on just about all your items and helping you all the way in the back. You're going to want that person in front so there's a visual for everybody else to see that person or those individuals. So focus your heavy hitters, meaning your higher bidders, in the front of the stage, about the first 2 or 3 rows.
Yeah.
That's 1 week out. There's a lot that goes into that. You might want to adjust that a little bit earlier than 1 week out.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's
Right?
a lot that goes
There's
into
a
it.
lot.
is.
Yeah, especially with sponsor tables and volunteers. And if you're inviting the teachers from the Catholic school, are they going to bid on any items? Spoiler alert, maybe not. Right?
No, it's again, there's so many science,
Pieces.
yeah, it's
factors.
science to methods to all the madness, methods to putting them in order, methods to sitting people, methods to where the donors are. Ooh, keep doing that. That looks weird.
1 week out, prepare the master script for the MC or auctioneer.
Yes.
Why?
It's going to change 300,000 times between them and the auction.
Well, what does the auctioneer need to know?
The auctioneer needs to know exactly what time he's going to be there. That's
Okay.
kind of important.
Right.
The auctioneer needs to know, what notes do you have? And I'll tell you if that's right.
There are no notes. I'm letting you riff a
Yeah,
little bit.
no.
Yeah, that's definitely right. We want to know who's in the room. We want to know who needs to be thanked on which package. We
Right.
need to talk about like minimums on any of those packages, potential
Doubles.
double opportunities on any of those packages. Yeah. So anything that could be information that is going to play out on stage is going to be something that we need.
Your auctioneer tries very hard, as well as your ringmen and your MCs. They try very hard night of to be a part of your organization, and that's why you'll hear them say multiple times, "We are here, our organization." You know, that evening they are a part of your organization. So the more information that you can give them to be educated about that organization and those people in the room, the more it feels very real and organic. And it is real and organic because that evening they are a part of your organization. But, you know, these guys are up in front of everybody with a mic, and they want to have as much as they can. And it will help you. It will help you
Yeah.
tremendously.
Particularly if you're talking about the master of ceremonies or announcer, because that person is going to be the first voice that they hear typically when we're in the live room, and they need to be able to sell your mission the way that you want them to sell it. Write it out for them. Don't be afraid to write out exactly what you want your MC to say. Give them the liberty to, move the words around, to, get the right inflection to send your message, but don't be afraid to just write it out. This is what I want you to say in your opening. This is how I want you to sell our mission.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well done. Well done. We go to 1 day out. Print addendum and auction site setup. Well, that's easy. Just go up there and set it up. Just get it ready. Just get the ballroom ready.
1 day out, you are going to be freaking out.
Yes. Take
So
a deep
don't.
breath. Yeah.
Don't freak out. You've done all of your due diligence. You have prepared it as well as you possibly can. Your goal is to raise money for an organization. You just remember that going in. Remember that you have put into place the team that's going to do it for you. You've got your volunteers. You've got everything that you need. So try on day before to stay as calm as you can, because it is nerve-wracking
Yeah,
as heck,
it is,
right? And
yeah.
what did I forget? And if I could suggest anything, lists. List,
Oh my gosh,
list,
right?
list.
You love your
Cross
list.
that list off, build another one. Day of, have a list. Let it start with, wake up, check. Have coffee, check.
Yeah.
Get in car, check. Just very simple, but give yourself a break by now. Day before, give yourself a break. Now just put it all together.
If you follow this packet, you won't have to worry about
You
it
won't.
when it comes.
You won't. Or better yet, if you call us, you won't have to.
Yeah,
We'll help you
just-
along the way.
You're gonna be
Exactly.
prepared.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So, I mean, that's kind of the run-up to the event. We could talk about day of event. Maybe we do that next week. But, yeah, we appreciate you joining us with us today. It's been fun.
It has been fun.
And again, there's a lot to it. Kelly and Shelby and I have mentioned it's hard to stick with just one aspect and not ramble on, right? Because we could go on and on about sequencing. We could go on and on about how to set up a silent auction. Every event is going to be different and unique, and yours is going to be no different than that. So tweak with what works for you, and if it works 1 year, great, keep doing it. If it doesn't, don't do it the next year. Ask some other local charities if you have friends that are in that world. Maybe throw some ideas around.
Yeah.
So there's really no one way to do this, but just a general foundation is kind of what we're trying to get across to you.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to encourage. And there's always a way to do this better. You can go through this packet multiple times, year over year, and you're going to see something that you can drill down on and do a little bit better or execute a little bit more efficiently. So take your time with it. Don't be overwhelmed. It's going to be okay. We're going to get through this.
It's all foundation. This is all foundation.
All foundation.
So anything that you build on a solid foundation will be good. Whether you have to rebuild it or not, it's got the foundation. And that's what this packet is the foundation.
We want the foundation.
Foundation's very important.
So go build your foundation.
Build your foundation.
You
Yeah.
set the foundation, and then at 5:30 when the doors open, that's when you hand it off to us.
Yep.
We'll take care of it, okay? Go out,
very
be
good.
bold, you guys. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, be courageous. Be courageous.
And go do good.
Right on. Truck on.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Woo!